What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Edge Realty's podcast. My name is Yasho Suarez. I'm Chief Marketing Officer of Edge Realty, and I am joined today by none other than Jennifer Nickerson.
Hello.
Welcome back. I love having you here. So today we want to talk about a little bit about search engines, all right? So Zillow search engines, Realtor.com, so things like that. Everybody knows them, everybody uses them, and kind of, are they good? Are they worth, being able to either invest into or, use them as a search engine as it is. If you have any questions on that, feel free to ask and we'll get to them as well too. Okay. Other than that, let's get into it. Okay. First off, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
I love your glasses.
Thank you.
You look awesome.
I feel super smart.
Are they prescription? I'm just kidding. You don't have to answer
glasses.
that. You don't have to answer that.
I am wearing contacts.
Awesome. All right. Hey, so first off, congratulations. I'm pretty sure by the time this comes out, everybody's already going to know you are Agent of the Month for October.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yes. What? That's not so much of a surprise, to be honest with you.
Well, hey, Edge agents, man, we're on a roll.
That's true, too. It's some tough competition here.
That's
right. That's right.
Yeah, it's not as easy to get Agent of the Month anymore.
Hey, but that's all good though, because you had you had a couple of years reigning on top, you know what I mean? So, but I think you put that bar up there so everybody else to kind of know what to beat. So congratulations on that as well too, and obviously you're still in the running here. You know what I mean? You were the GOAT, but now you're still around though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not past tense. It's not past tense by any means. All right. No. But yeah. So I know you have a lot of experience when it comes to, doing your research online and stuff like that. And I love the fact that, you take the time to sit down and really kind of go through all of the aspects of real estate when it comes to your clients and stuff like that. So this is another big reason why I wanted to have you on here for this and to kind of explain to other people out there as far as what are the benefits of, using these search engines and what are some stuff to maybe kind of look out for and pay attention to because they may not be as accurate as we think. So
right, yeah. Well, there's I think the top two are Realtor and Realtor.com and Zillow.
Mm-hmm.
Zillow and Trulia are the same company,
right?
And a lot of people don't realize that either. So whenever I refer to Zillow, I'm talking about Trulia too. I'm talking about them simultaneously.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
But I think they're both great tools to use. But there's a lot about them that can be conflicting with what we have in the MLS. And they're not in real time too,
Gotcha,
and that's crucial in today's market.
Most definitely.
Because, when a house goes on the market, you got to get to it first because they're selling in a matter of hours.
Every second counts when it comes to this market.
Right. And so Zillow is not in real time.
Right. Unfortunately, there are some things, right. So but before we kind of get into that, let's, I guess to kind of, talk about the good things is for, and we don't want to just completely bash them
we don't want
to right off the bat because we do use them. We do use them ourselves as well too. But kind of like, what are the benefits of using it? I mean, Zillow's been around for a while. Zillow's definitely like the number one in the world as far as being able to.
And mostly because of their advertising.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the name alone is cool. Zillow.
Right.
I remember when it first came out and I was like, what the hey diddle is this?
Right.
Like, Zillow. But yeah, so it's a great platform. It's easy to use. It's got a lot of features where you can select, what you want to see and your price range. And of course, they all have price range, but it's just really easy to navigate Zillow's platform. I think they've nailed it when it comes to user-friendly. And it's really great for a mobile app too.
Most definitely. Yeah.
I would say Realtor.com sucks on mobile app. I'm sorry, but it does. Super slow. Freezes all the time. It's just not. Zillow is a easier platform to use mobilely.
Definitely.
So.
I agree 100% there too. So when it comes to using these apps, what are some things that you kind of go through whenever you're talking to your clients? And, we always tell our clients, use it to your advantage, obviously. But what are some things that you wish some people would know even before they come to you or as soon as they're searching on Zillow?
Well, Are you referring to like if they contact us through Zillow?
Not necessarily. Like, what's some things like that you would want them to know before they even start looking on Zillow for a home?
I would want them to know that a lot of times it's already under contract before they realize it, because again, you've got that lag time. It is syndicated with the MLS, but there's a really big lag time. And that the estimates are questionable, because, I mean, quite frankly, they're inaccurate, and because they're based on what the consumer puts in, and it's not direct data from the MLS, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you think about it, they take every home that is sold, and they kind of lump it, and then they average it.
Right.
And
okay, so before
you just cannot do that.
Before we get into that, because I do definitely want to get into that, and that's a really big thing, and I want to save it for later on. But what about as far as whenever, kind of break it down for them. Let's break it down. Obviously, everybody knows what Zillow is, but kind of the inner workings of it as far as when it comes to us getting contacted through Zillow as well too. For us that do invest in a Zillow, and for a lot of people that don't know or don't understand that, real estate agents, we purchase leads off of Zillow. So kind of give us your insight on this.
So it's interesting, and I guess Realtor.com is the same way. Can I talk about them too in that aspect? Because Realtor.com and Zillow, they both do the same thing with agents. And by the way, Realtor.com, we are not. That's not us.
Yes.
We when we set you up, we send you everything directly through the MLS. Realtor.com is using our brand,
the name, yeah.
But they are not us. So anyway, that's a whole other podcast.
Yes, that's right. So yeah, I was gonna say realtors, NAR. Yeah. That's a whole. It's its own entity as well too.
Yes,
so, but yeah, keep going, definitely.
So anyway, so agents, what we do, the online presence that we have to have these days is crucial to our business. So whenever you are looking online and you see where, if you're scrolling and you see where it says, click here to talk to an agent, or, it's got maybe 4 or 5 agents to select from, those are agents that have paid to advertise on Zillow and Realtor.com. And those agents are paying a substantial amount of money a month to advertise on those websites. And what confuses the consumer is that when they click on that, I think a lot of times they may think they're talking to the listing agent.
That's exactly what I usually always get as well too. Yeah. That's the same kind of understanding that.
And sometimes they are, because the listing agent is featured also in that list. But what the consumer doesn't understand is that we're in a cooperative. And so when you make that phone call and you click to talk to that agent, a lot of times the first question I get is, well, are you the listing agent? I'm like, well, no, but I'm in the cooperative with the listing agent. How may I help you?
And so explain that a little bit as far as like the cooperative.
And that's another thing. A lot of buyers, just so buyers out there, if y'all are watching this, when you call someone through Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever website, and you say, or the agent you talk to starts talking about representing you, there is a reason they're doing that. It's not to, quote unquote, trap you in an agreement or anything like that. As a matter of fact, realtors and agents are held to a higher standard. We are licensed by the state, and we are regulated under a commission here, and we are required to provide agency disclosure, which means we have to tell you what we're going to do for you as an agent. We have to tell you all about it. Right. And that's another podcast too.
Yeah.
But basically we're disclosing to you what we're required to do for you as your agent. And we're required under the law to do that at first contact. So first contact would be the phone call.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's almost like when you're going through that. Yes, we have to obviously show our representation,
Right.
or the way I like to say is what our intentions are. What are our
Yes.
intentions. So
Yes.
whenever you speak to a spouse or their in-law, you have to tell them, hey, they're going to ask you, what are your intentions with my
Exactly.
with my loved one.
Yeah.
So it's
And it's
kind of
really for your protection. It is to protect the consumer. Like I say, we're held to a standard. We want to work for you and protect you. And at the end of the day, I always say it, maybe get paid.
That's
But,
right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, hey.
but to have, because think about it this way. Once that agent has talked to you about what agency is and what representation is, then you'll understand that if you're not in an exclusive agreement with an agent that's going to work for you and help you and represent you, truly advocate for you, then when you walk into that home with that agent to see that home, they're technically working for the seller at that point.
Right.
I mean,
So yeah, that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand,
Yeah.
or I mean, maybe it's not explained to them. I mean,
Right.
we don't expect you to understand right off the bat.
Oh no!
But
I mean, that's we're who sits around on a nice day, relaxing day, and goes, I think I'll read about license law and
Right.
agency representation from the Arkansas Real Estate Commission. Thinking about buying a house.
I mean, if
Nobody-
you are, then come talk to us. But if not,
Nobody does that.
Nobody does that. Absolutely not.
They
Of course. That'd be a weird way to spend your afternoon. I got nothing else better to do.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go ahead and read
I mean,
this
there's
real
a few
estate.
nerds out there
Yeah.
like us that are into
just
research.
for fun. Yes.
But I mean, most people don't even have time for that, and they're counting on you.
Exactly, and that's what we're here for. So
Yes, and they're counting on you to do the right thing, and
most definitely.
that's what we do. So.
Most definitely. So representation is going to be a big thing. So whenever you hear us say, explaining that to you, or kind of, going through the process with you, it's because we want you to understand what our intentions and what our position within this transaction or within, our relationship is going to be. So let's see here. So what would you say, obviously going through the transaction, other than going through the transaction, whenever somebody's calling us through Zillow, or if we get contacted, what are we supposed to do for them? I mean, we kind of touched that on a little bit, but kind of explain a little bit more of what our side is whenever we get the call.
Well, we run through agency with them first,
right?
And foremost,
of course, yeah, intentions, yeah.
and then we try to schedule the showing, and we just try to verify, get a feel for what you're wanting, because you're typically not going to buy the very first home that you see. So we want to, get as much information from you as possible, find out if you're pre-qualified, because that is a huge deal. And so we get you pre-qualified typically before we start showing homes. In a perfect world, I would like to get someone in and create this big strategy session. I mean, I dream about it.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
And I have it all written out in a big, beautiful checklist.
Yeah.
But the truth is that today's fast-paced world, life gets in the way of those sessions. And so we wind up having those sessions in a car or at a showing, or over the phone, which is great.
Yeah,
FaceTime is wonderful, and Zoom is wonderful too. So we can take advantage of the technology that we have these days too.
For sure. I know, like you said, with the fast-paced world, a lot of it ends up, it's everybody's more expecting of not really starting a relationship right off the phone, but they're more of I need this question answered. I need to go see his house right now. Yeah. So a lot of it kind of gets caught within that. So yeah, we'll do our best. All right, I'll kind of tell you what I like to do whenever I do receive a call is if they're wanting to schedule a showing, it's because they already have an idea of when they're available, when they can go, and can we do it? And it's usually within a matter of a day or two, not
right.
even, if not same day.
Because these days most people are getting pre-qualified.
Yeah,
they've been listening.
Right, they have been listening, and that's great.
Listening.
That's perfect, because that helps us out a ton, because then we know what we're working with, and then we know that you guys have already kind of started the process, so we have that in our belt, we have that in our pocket. But I think the big thing that gets lost a lot of time within that is the fact that, we don't get as much of the automatic, going through the qualifying questions.
Right.
Everybody's more of like, I need to go see it now. I want to go see it now. I'd like to go see this, and see what exactly it is. And then I want them to understand that, when we're showing you these houses, went through these process, and we're setting these showings up for you right away. We're going to want to come back to you and start asking these qualifying questions. And it's not to get into your business. It's not to get into anything like that. It's more of trying to be able to start that relationship to help you out as much as we can.
Right. It's all about rapport and establishing what the person needs, what they want, what they can afford. Because, and now we'll touch on the financial calculators. This is a great time to do that.
That's
the
true.
Financial calculators that are featured on sites like Realtor.com and Zillow, they are great if you're just glancing and trying to guesstimate.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're one of those people that is a true budgeter, and you have a specific amount of money going to groceries and a specific amount of money to this, and in other words, if you're a normal human being that is just ridiculously wealthy, you want to know what you're going to be spending on your mortgage payment, and really, honestly, you want to know up front.
Right.
So those financial calculators are great tools, but they can be tricky because you have to be really careful. I tested it. I just went in general and just plugged in the sales price. And then I hit enter. Because that's what most people are going to do.
Right.
Because they feel like, well, this financial calculator is going to calculate everything for me. I trust it 100%. I don't know why we do that, but we do that. And so, anyway, I did that just to see in general what it would automatically populate into those fields. What it automatically populated was a super low interest rate. Which if my credit was really crappy, I know there's no way I could get that interest rate.
Yep.
What it auto-populated in one field was that I was putting 20% down. I don't know anyone anymore that's putting 20% down on a home.
Mm-hmm.
That's just save your liquid. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not a good idea. But that's another podcast episode too. So. Anyway.
I'm writing these down as
I know.
I'm mentally writing these down.
Then it auto-populated the estimated insurance and taxes. Well, I hadn't put in a particular zip code, I don't think. So it just had like some vague generic amount. And so when I actually went back and put in the correct values and calculated it, it was $250 different a month.
See, yeah, so that's a little scary. Huge. That's huge. It's a big difference, especially for an average American in our market.
Yeah,
that's like, what were you saying? That's
groceries, an electric bill. I mean, that's like $250 a month is a lot. That's
a big difference. So be careful whenever you're going into these calculators. I mean, a lot of them, again, they are helpful, and if you know every single part of your budget as far as what your mortgage insurance is going to be, what your actual home insurance is going to be, all those things, what your taxes are locally. Every single year, then yes, then they're great, and it'll give you a great guesstimation. But like you said, I think it's pertinent to know that it's not going to be exact. All right, so and I obviously I don't want to bash on them. No, I don't want to be sitting on your bash on them.
But that's where it comes into where you really need the professional to advise you and look at those things for you, because they know exactly what it's going to be. And so you have to rely on those people to help you. That's what they're here for. Right. We all are hopefully experts in our fields that we work in, and so we strive for that kind of excellence. So if you can find someone to where it takes. I don't know if the average consumer realizes how many people have their hands in your real estate transaction, and it is nuts.
It's a lot.
It is crazy how many people, and you don't think about it. But I could probably name what you've got. Typically two agents, two brokers. You've got the buyer, the seller, the title company, the mortgage lender, sometimes their investor on the front if they're brokering. Yep. Then you've got an insurance, the hazard insurance company. You've got the termite company, repairs. So you've got contractors involved now at that point. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
And that's just on a regular transaction. That's not even the complicated ones.
No, exactly. Yeah. So communication is everything.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Okay, so we talked about kind of the finances and stuff like that.
And by the way, Realtor.com and Zillow aren't going to provide that kind of service for you.
Right.
I mean, I'm just putting it out there.
And let's be honest. All right. So can we touch on a little bit? I know we didn't really talk about this, but kind of like maybe like the iBuyer. Do you have any experience with that at all? The iBuyer side of everything?
But I think it is. I want full disclosure, and I'm just putting it out there too. It is so funny to me, and not funny in a good way, that Realtor.com and Zillow, yes, I'm calling y'all out. We advertise. We spend a lot of money advertising with them. But then if you go to a certain page on their website, they are kind of throwing us under the bus and saying, why do you need an agent when you can do this and we'll give you this for your house? And so you have to be really careful with any pitch like that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really be careful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know what to say except that if it sounds too good to be true,
usually
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about one issue that we've seen quite a bit whenever we have our buyers showing us houses that they have maybe just seen or listed on Zillow or on Realtor.com, and they come in as a pre-foreclosure or they come in as an auction.
I hate those.
So, kind of, can you explain to me a little bit of maybe in your own experience, what have you had with those type of issues?
Okay, so for the most part, my typical experience with those is when a client calls me through Zillow and they want to look at a pre-foreclosure, I pull up all of the pre-foreclosure requirements, and you can go to auction.com, you can go onto different sites with Arkansas that break down how foreclosures work. But ultimately, when you see a pre-foreclosure hit the market, it's exactly what it says. Pre-foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
That means we can't get in it. It's up for auction. It's probably been listed by a site like auction.com or someone that's required. It has to be posted because it's going to go to a public auction. But it is not a foreclosed home yet. And so what happens is, just a quick example, the foreclosure attorney has listed it at auction and put it as a pre-foreclosure on Zillow, and that's just basically the advertisement, and you can find out when the auction is going to be, and they usually have a reserve, and so they typically go back to the bank. They get deeded to the bank anyway at auction. Yep. I'm just saying it. And then that's why if you're the consumer and you've noticed that maybe you saved a pre-foreclosure home that was listed a year ago and you noticed it disappeared maybe 3 months ago, and it pops up this month listed for sale by a local agent here, and you're like, what? And it's actually listed at a more of a market price than it was before, because before it was super cheap. Well, that's probably what was owed on it. So anyway, and so now they're trying to recoup everything and actually list it as a foreclosed property.
Exactly.
And so but people instantly think they're going to get a deal when they see a pre-foreclosure. Well, go to an auction and try to buy that house. You normally have to be a cash buyer.
Oh, you have to have it in pocket,
and you're going to pay extra premiums to do that, and that's another episode too. And then you're typically taking title with a bunch of liens attached to it.
Yes, you're taking all the risk with it.
Yes.
Yep.
And so it's a mess. It can be a big mess. Pre-foreclosures can be messy if you don't know what you're doing. If you're a savvy investor, they're probably a great thing for you.
They can be, absolutely,
Right.
if you're seasoned in that. And even if you're not, if it's something that you've done your research and you're checking to make sure that this is something that you do want to obviously put your money into, then yeah, most definitely. Now we were talking about the pre-foreclosures and the auctions. Now, isn't it true also, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have, like you said, it's a lot of these houses that maybe the owner or the it just hasn't made a payment in a few months, and they're trying to collect themselves back up and then finally make a huge payment, but it's already gone into pre-foreclosure,
Right.
meaning that it's in the process of getting there, but doesn't mean it's foreclosed. Like you said, it's not foreclosed already.
Right.
So they're still living there.
Yeah.
They're just backed up on bills. So maybe within like the next 2 weeks, they got all their money back that they needed, and they were able to put that money back into it. Like you said, it's just the money that they owe. Right. And that's why it seems so cheap.
It's like the initiation of foreclosure, basically. Like list pendants has been filed and it's initiated.
So say it again. I'm sorry.
I was going to say that's the list pendants for foreclosure has been filed, and so they're basically creating that notice. It's a notice of foreclosure, a notice that if you don't pay such and such, this house is going to go to auction by such and such date.
So be careful whenever you're looking at it and you see pre-foreclosures and auctions.
I've had people call me through Zillow and go, I'm out at this house, and well, there's a bunch of kids running around out there. I thought this was a foreclosure, and I'm like, it's not a foreclosure, not yet.
Yeah.
And there are redemption rights in the state of Arkansas. So
right.
I would advise you, if you're going to if you take interest in purchasing foreclosures at auction, I would consult an attorney.
Most definitely.
I would have an attorney by my side on all of that.
Most definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then not even just to mention, but like you mentioned before, is all the title that goes into it as well too, and seeing the backup that might come along with that foreclosure. So definitely having all that just to be sure. Okay, so let's get into kind of like the biggest thing that I feel gets a lot of the people, and everybody knows this, and it's always the ones that you'll see and like, hey, I wanted to sell my house, and I saw the Zestimate on Zillow, and it said I can sell it for, I just bought this house like 2 years ago at $175,000. It's already telling me it's at $250 right now. I want to go ahead and sell it at $250. Let's go ahead and list it. I want to make this money. Lies. Yeah. Okay. So
inaccurate.
And it's crazy. All right. So give me your side on this. And I'll kind of tell you mine.
Okay. It's like a blanket average of what has sold. Then that's basing it off of there's missing homes. It's not pulled from the MLS. So when an agent runs comparables, they're actually pulling what has really sold. And their numbers are much more accurate. So Zillow is basing theirs off of what the consumer has entered in, and not necessarily what's from the MLS. And they're taking like large areas and condensing that and dividing it to get an average. Mm-hmm. They're not adjusting for the condition of the home. They're not adjusting whether or not it was a foreclosure.
Right.
There's so many variables that give a home its value. Everyone says, well, whatever a person will pay for it is the value. And I kind of agree with that.
I get you, yeah.
But, just common sense. Like, if you're... Yes, I'm saying it because this is what I say to my clients. You can ask them. I am very direct. Like, if you paid $200,000 for your house a year ago and you didn't do anything to it,
right? No updates, no nothing, right?
Do you really think it's going to sell for $275,000 the next year?
Yep.
Maybe I'm exaggerating the differences in price, but that's kind of what. That's just a good example.
Right. Now there is such thing as appreciation, and that's obviously with properties and real estate. That's one of the biggest things that you always want. That's probably one of the only things that will always appreciate. But
absolutely.
To have like a 60% increase, and so here's my thing on that as well too is I've seen certain cases where a house will have just sold. Excuse me, let me take that back. A person is looking at like their Zestimate on Zillow, and they see that their house is selling for they for $300,000, mm-hmm. right? And so they're selling their house for $300,000. or the Zestimate has it at 300,000, and then they go into the market and they actually see that it's actually more of like, maybe it could be up. It could be more like 400,000. And just to kind of give you, and I'm just for sake of argument, where then they've gone in and actually listed the home with a real estate agent or for sale by owner, whatever, what have you, and the Zestimate actually goes up.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So and you can track it as well too. You can track. They have they kind of, they're not holding anything back. They're not trying to hide it from you, but Zillow has that section where you can track the estimate that it's had throughout the years, or the estimate of the home, and then but you'll see that jump up or down where it's all of a sudden it's $400,000 or so. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't.
You're onto something.
And it's weird. It's weird. And I tell you, like, look it up when you get a chance. Actually check it out. I mean, don't take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. There are some houses that have done that. And I mean, it's been a crazy jump increase. You're gonna find it more in like the more populated areas. The cities, the urban areas. The ones that may have, and also for the ones that are also in the higher range. Anywhere from in our market, I guess that would be over 300,000. So look out for those type of situations as well too. I've seen that as well.
I'm like just envisioning a crew of people that are bored that work there that just like have access to a computer and they're like, let's change it to this today. There's no method to their madness, I don't think.
And it's crazy. I mean, that's above my pay grade, right? As far as how their algorithms work when it comes to those.
I have no idea how their algorithms. Didn't they had like a big lawsuit or something over that, and then they decided to change it, and they were offering like big bucks to someone to come up with a better algorithm. Or
I didn't hear about that. No, I don't know.
Like 2016 maybe,
really?
Or 2017. Yeah,
it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense.
I don't know, but I really wish people would stop using that and just trust the experts,
right?
And trust. I mean,
So you touched on it a little bit. Also another aspect that they're not taking into consideration when they're doing these estimates is, it could be around $225,000 that your house could sell for, but that's comparing off of houses that have already sold on the market. Plus, if your house is like you said earlier, it's not updated whatsoever.
Right.
You're not going to be able to compete with the house that was sold for, $250,000, $225,000, and you're in the same neighborhood, same market. It's not going to be the same because you don't have updated kitchen, you don't have updated floors, you don't have open spaces.
I've even ran into the problem, not necessarily either, where it can work both ways because Zillow is so confusing to the consumer about value. Where I've had some clients where I ran comparables and their home was way more than what Zillow said it was.
Yeah.
And they get really frustrated.
So I'll give you a stat. So they said that Zillow has on their site that 80% of the time they come within a 20%. Up or down.
20%.
20%. So again,
I didn't notice that waiver either.
Give you that.
Can you imagine?
So imagine if the house is $300,000, that's what, $60,000. So that's $120,000 difference. Up, obviously $60,000 difference up or down. Right. So that's either $240,000 or $360,000. That's $120,000 difference up or down. You know what I mean? So that's a huge gap. That's a big difference. And again, I'm not bashing on them because a lot of time, yes, they're going off of the numbers, and I get that. That's because
they're doing the best they can do because they're not local experts.
Right. Partially, they're doing part of the job. Right. They're doing part of the job is what it is, and it's not the complete history, the complete information that is really out there. Yeah, because we have the capabilities of being able to reach out to other agents. Right. If somebody sold a house in the same market that we're trying to sell, one of our clients' house, we can reach out to them and say, hey, I didn't see any pictures on this house, but, did you have any updates? Was there any of this? Was there new roof, new water here, new HVAC, anything like that? And they'll be able to tell us. And be like, oh, yeah, I remember that house. Yeah, we sold it for, $350,000. It's because it had brand new floors. It had an entire complete kitchen. The bathroom was redone 100%. I'm sorry, I'm spitting on you. But
how dare you?
So sorry, I'm getting excited. It's like we're like thespians. You don't sit in the front row whenever you're going to a Shakespeare play. Okay, so. Oh man.
Oh my God.
But you know what I'm talking
we're
about.
real estate nerds. We get super excited about this stuff.
We do. That's right. But yeah, so kind of that's I guess like that's like the really biggest thing that I really want to emphasize on was this estimates, you know, and not saying again I don't want to bash them because we use it as well too to kind of see where we're at. I think I did one for my own house, and it was a little off. You know, it wasn't a crazy amount, but for
you
want
to look at it because you want to see what the consumer is seeing,
right?
And I honestly, this is our job to educate the consumer on these things, because you guys aren't going to know. You know, most people trust what they see because it looks accurate. If you just glance at the way it's all presented, it's in a perfect package. Their platform looks great. Everything looks legit.
Yeah.
They have nationwide commercials about how fabulous
they're
they
a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, they're doing something right.
Right.
For sure. It's not estimating the value of your home.
Right.
That's the one thing that they have not figured out how to do. And that's just because they don't have access to that kind of information. They don't have the manpower to do that. Can you imagine?
Exactly. So it's not as accurate as everybody thinks. I mean, it could give you a ballpark again, but those are kind of like the biggest things that we kind of really wanted to get into. What would you kind of tell people or ask them, to kind of I don't know, either combat this or kind of give them a heads up. Like what's the biggest thing you want them to take away from this?
So I offer them our direct access to the MLS through, we call it Collab Link, and we set our clients up to receive real-time updates. And I love how Realtor.com took that from us too.
Did they really?
Real-time updates. Yeah, they got a big ad campaign about it.
I didn't know
and
that.
Like,
what the heck?
Yeah, but they don't have real-time updates.
Right.
We do. It's linked directly to the MLS, so you're going to get it at least 20 or 30 minutes before.
And for those that don't know, like our MLS is where everybody directly puts in the listing into, which then gets spread out into these other third-party locations. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. But that's what it is. So yes, you're going to get a notification before anybody else. You really, truly are. And so once you get that, that's the upper hand. And then we can communicate through that too. So we have really amazing tools too. And so it's just a matter of getting that, explaining all of that to the client, going over agency with the client,
right? Getting
that buyer exclusive agreement, for us to be able to represent you, in the best capacity. And then find your home, set you up for searches. No one's trying to hide any homes from you. And so I kind of feel like if you're relying on Zillow or Realtor.com, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities. If you're not working with an agent.
What's something you would recommend for them?
What do you mean?
Is there
there's so many things I could recommend for a buyer. Define.
Right, define your explanation. Just listen to me. That's your recommendation. Yeah. No, as far as like I feel like we have some, like you said, we have tools that we can offer them, and I think like for instance, I know we have like HomeSnap. HomeSnap is a big one.
HomeSnap is a great app to use, and it's really cool because wherever you're at, once you open it up, you have to allow it to
find your location, right?
So do that. And so when you're out in a neighborhood, I have a lot of buyers like to drive around. People still do that. That's still a thing. And so when you're driving around looking for a house, or you want to check out, the neighborhood, you can just open up the app and it will tell you all the homes that are available for sale in that neighborhood. And it's really cool. And then it will map you to where you want to go.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. I didn't even know about that.
Super cool app. There's so many features in that app, but that's directly linked to our MLS too. So it's in real time, and there's so many. There's so many more things. There's quick. You can run quick comps on it too. But don't do that. Let me do that.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's things that have to be done.
Again. Yeah. True. So. Right. Yeah. But I think I usually try to recommend HomeSnap as well too, because like you said, it's directly connected to our MLS,
awesome. And it's a quick and speedy platform too.
It's
very user friendly. I like the color, the font, I'm weird about stuff like that. It's got to be easy on the eyes.
Easy on the eyes. That's right. It's got to be pleasant to the eyes. Of course.
There's also a really cool feature that some agents may not know about it, but we call them heat maps, and HomeSnap has that availability. So if my client, it's a heat map.
Okay.
And it tells me, based on information that has been obtained online, that the person is most likely to list their home. So when I have a client that is messaging me and saying, well, I wanted a house in Greystone, or, I wanted a house in this neighborhood, and then I'm like, well, there's nothing available that I like. Well, I can go in that neighborhood and I can look and I can see there might be 10 homes where the seller is in there searching online for their next home, and it's telling me that they're probably going to list their house soon.
Yeah. All right.
And so I have called those homeowners before for my clients, and been like, hey, I have a pre-approved buyer. They want to live in your neighborhood. They were looking around your house, and I wanted to know if you might be interested in letting us, talk about your home. And so then you go from there. But yeah, so that's, Zillow's not going to do that for you. Just put it out there.
Sorry, we're just going to add that in there. We're just going to add that in there as well, too. Yeah, I mean, and in this market, that's where we're headed. Like, we've spoken about this before.
That's the old school way. Agents, go back to your roots, and start working for your buyers. Stop letting online, I mean, like I say, it's a great tool to have. It's great that our homes are on the internet now. Mm-hmm. I remember, I probably said this a million times to everybody, like when I bought my house, I looked through a catalog, and it was really scary and sad. It was, I think, black and white photos, actually. And then I just called the person that had it listed because I didn't know any better. Mm-hmm. And I went and bought the house. But it's not like that anymore. And now it's so cool.
I think that's how I bought my first car. Was that way? Was through a catalog. You know what I mean? I was like, oh man, that's the one I want.
That's
right
the
there.
one
that's
I
the
want.
One. You get there.
Was it DuPont Exchange? Was that DuPont Registry? Was that Car Magazine? My brother used to look at it, and he'd be like, I'm going to have a Porsche someday.
Yeah. I don't remember. And it was, those, like, I know in Connecticut, I know we had, I don't know if it was a nationwide one, but I know we had one in Connecticut.
Those are awesome.
And you can get them at the gas station, at the convenience store, all that type of stuff.
Now you get a car out of a vending machine.
That's nuts.
Dude.
That's crazy.
I got to go to Vegas so I can see that. There's nothing I want to see in Vegas but a car coming down through a vending machine.
That's so
all
crazy.
I want to see.
I swear.
My gosh.
Goals. Yeah, goals in life.
I could just make Agent of the Month in November. I can take a trip to Vegas.
Let's get it. I'm right there with you. Shoot. Well, all right. So what I think I'd want to put out there for our followers and people that follow us on social medias and on the interwebs. But I'd like to kind of put it out for you guys to tell us an interesting story that you guys have maybe had with Zillow, or maybe a question that you even have regarding search engines and such like that. If you guys have any, obviously put it down below if you have any more questions on those type of situations, or in real estate in general. We're here for you guys, so let us know. Okay. Always. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. This is always a good time whenever you're here.
Yeah,
so, and of course it won't be the last time. We'll get you on here more often too. So, but, one last thing to kind of just give everybody kind of what you got planned for the end of the year. Anything big going on?
Last quarter, just trying to hit some goals. COVID kind of slowed me down because I actually got COVID, which really sucked. And then we had a loss in the family. We had a friend die. So it's been been nuts, man. 2020.
It's been crazy.
Sean Connery passed away.
Oh, don't even start on that. I definitely, that one hurt. That one hurt a little bit.
I'm so ready for this year to be over with.
For sure.
I told Scott, I said, of course Sean Connery died. Right. It's 2020. The man's been alive for 90 years.
I swear, he was old when I was born. So it's like,
so like, I'm like, my mom would be like, Sean Connery. I'm like,
yeah.
Then when I turned 40, I was like, Sean Connery looks pretty good.
I'm like, man, I wish I can have that like silver fox look, you know,
like,
right?
Hey, dude.
Goodness gracious! So oh my god, I did I even posted this out. I told everybody that I remember obviously watching all his movies as a kid with my dad, and even growing up. I mean, The Rock, 007,
he was awesome.
He was awesome. He was one of the best. I even did an audition piece with in his voice from one of his movies as well too.
I gotta hear it.
I don't remember it now. I couldn't remember. This was
Man.
like 20 years ago. So
now
I couldn't.
You gotta practice it now. Because I'm gonna call you out on it next time I'm on here.
I'm pretty sure it was probably the worst. I didn't get the part. I'll just say that. I'll put it out there. Let's just put that out there. But I thought I was like, yes. I went in there thinking this is gonna be it. Everybody's gonna be so impressed. You know, what I mean, I can do a Scottish accent. And then, yeah, right, yeah. No, didn't never heard back from him actually. So that was a little bit. But just R.I.P. Sean Connery, man. He's definitely one of my idols. But
he was awesome.
But again, dude, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
This is always a good time. And good luck for the rest of the year. Obviously, congratulations on getting Agents of the Month again.
Thank you.
Also creating a new team as well too. I don't know if we talked about that
gosh.
since the last time you've been on.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. How could I forget? Hello. So we have a team now, Real Estate Mama team.
There it is.
And that consists of Ashley Branch and Shelly Marr and myself. And
they're kicking butt.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. I really am.
If you want to get like a feel of, I mean, some like Arkansas-based love, Southern. I can't say Arkansas because Shelly's from Louisiana. She'll get me on that.
She's
a big LSU fan, but I mean, just that down south loving family feel. I mean, which I hope we all do. But if you talk to the Real Estate Mama team, you'll always have that feeling.
We got you.
You can even feel it through the phone. It's so crazy.
Thank you.
But they're awesome. Obviously, again, we're here for you guys for anything you guys ever need, real estate related, and more. So let us know, and we'd love to help you guys out. All right. Until next time. Thank you for watching. There's been another podcast for Edge Realty, and we will see you later. Thanks, guys. Bye.